Have you ever stopped for a second and asked yourself why some people, who don't seem smarter than you, end up millionaires while others spend their lives chasing bills, waiting for that one big paycheck that never really changes anything? The truth is, it's not about luck or massive inheritance. It's about small financial shifts that silently, almost secretly, transform ordinary people into millionaires, without the world even noticing. It starts with habits so small that most people ignore them because they don't look like success. They look boring, repetitive, even useless at first. But the real secret is, these small decisions compound. And compounding is the quiet engine that builds empires. Think about the guy who decides to invest just $100 a month, consistently, no excuses. Everyone laughs at him, says it's too small, too slow. But 10 years later, when his money has quietly multiplied, when he's learned discipline, when his mindset has shifted from spending to owning, those same people start asking him for advice. That's the shift. It's not just financial, it's psychological. It's how you think about money, how you talk about it, how you respect it. Millionaires don't treat money like paper. They treat it like a soldier, something that goes out, works, and comes back with more. They make money serve them instead of serving money. You see, the first secret shift is this: stop chasing income, start building assets. That tiny switch in your brain, that single idea, is the foundation of wealth. When you buy things that lose value, you're feeding someone else's dream. When you buy things that grow value, you're planting your own. Most people confuse looking rich with being rich. They wear the designer, drive the shiny car, show off the watch, but behind all that, their money is slipping away quietly. Real millionaires, especially self-made ones, they move differently. They understand that every dollar is a decision. They know that a small shift in direction, repeated over time, completely changes the destination. You don't need to double your income overnight. You need to double your awareness. You need to start asking, where is my money going, and what is it doing when it gets there? Here's something most people never realize. The secret to wealth isn't about making more. It's about keeping more, managing more, and letting it grow. The real game starts when you stop trying to get rich fast and start trying to get rich permanently. The person who saves 10% of their income and invests it wisely will beat the person who earns double, but spends it all. It's not glamorous. It's not exciting. But it's the truth. Every millionaire at some point made that shift, from impulse to intention. They stopped saying, "I can't afford it," and started asking, "How can I afford it?" That small question changes everything. It opens your brain to possibilities instead of closing it with fear. Small shift, big impact. And here's another one nobody talks about. Your circle. The people you spend time with decide how you think about money. If your friends mock you for saving, if they make fun of you for investing, they are anchoring you to poverty. Millionaires surround themselves with thinkers, doers, readers, planners. They share ideas, they discuss markets, they talk about growth. Every conversation they have adds a brick to their mindset fortress. That's not luck, that's design. You can start designing your own financial environment right now, with whoever's willing to grow beside you. Maybe it's not your family, maybe not your current friends, maybe it's podcasts, books, YouTube videos. Feed your mind with better input, and your life will output better results. There's a reason why small financial shifts feel invisible at first. They don't produce fireworks. They don't go viral. They grow in silence, like a tree under the soil, roots forming, unseen. Most people quit before it breaks through the surface because they can't see progress. But every seed of financial growth takes time. If you track your progress, even in small wins, you'll realize the journey is the reward. Every time you resist an impulse buy, you're rewiring your brain. Every time you choose to invest instead of spend, you're telling your future self, "I've got you." Those little wins stack up until one day, you're not living paycheck to paycheck anymore. You're free. Freedom doesn't come from hitting the jackpot. It comes from mastering small shifts that accumulate into unshakable stability. The funny part? Nobody teaches this in school. They teach algebra, history, and theory, but not how to build a financial foundation. That's why you must become your own teacher, your own investor, your own manager. Financial literacy is not a subject, it's survival. You can't build wealth if you don't understand the game. And the game has rules. The first rule: control your spending. The second: create multiple streams. The third: make your money work while you sleep. Let's talk about mindset for a second, because this is where everything starts. Poor people think money is scarce. Rich people see it as abundant. Poor people chase discounts. Rich people chase opportunities. Poor people work for money. Rich people make money work for them. That's not arrogance, it's awareness. You shift that awareness, you shift your life. The moment you stop seeing money as something to spend and start seeing it as something to multiply, you've already stepped onto the millionaire path. That's how simple it is. Small mental shift, massive life impact. Another secret shift: learn to delay gratification. The ability to wait, to plan, to invest long-term, that's a millionaire's superpower. Every time you say no to instant pleasure, you're saying yes to future prosperity. It's discipline disguised as sacrifice, but later it looks like freedom. Because when your investments start paying you back, when your money starts earning money, that's when life feels different. You wake up one day and realize your income is no longer limited by your time. That's when you understand what leverage means. And here's the irony: most people are just 1 or 2 shifts away from unlocking that. But they never do it because they underestimate the small. So what are those small financial shifts? Start by automating your savings. The moment you get paid, set a percentage aside before you even touch it. Out of sight, out of temptation. Then invest consistently. Not once, not when it feels right, but every single month. Even if it's small, it's momentum. Next, track your spending. It sounds dull, I know, but awareness is control. When you start seeing where your money goes, you start changing where it should go. Learn a high-income skill, something that multiplies your earning potential. It could be digital marketing, copywriting, coding, or real estate analysis. Then use that skill to build another income stream. These steps are simple, not easy, but simple. Small shifts, massive outcomes. The goal isn't to live cheap, it's to live smart. Millionaires don't just save, they allocate. They tell their money where to go instead of wondering where it went. They buy assets that appreciate and minimize liabilities that drain. Every purchase is a choice between short-term comfort and long-term growth. But here's the real secret. The biggest financial shift isn't about dollars at all. It's about identity. When you start seeing yourself as someone who controls money instead of being controlled by it, your actions follow that belief. You move different. You talk different. You plan different. You stop saying, "I'm broke," and start saying, "I'm building." You stop saying, "I can't," and start saying, "I will." That self-image is what separates people who stay average from those who grow into abundance. Because you can't act richer until you think richer, and you can't think richer until you believe you deserve it. That's why the first millionaire shift happens inside your head, long before it shows up in your bank account. Once that happens, opportunities start revealing themselves. Not because they weren't there before, but because now you're ready to see them. That's the quiet transformation nobody talks about. And if you're listening to this, it means you're already closer than you think. You already care. You already want to understand. That's the first step. The rest is just consistency. One day you'll look back and realize it was never one big decision that changed your life. It was the series of small financial shifts that built your foundation, brick by brick. And when people start calling you lucky, you'll smile, because you'll know luck had nothing to do with it. It was discipline. It was patience. It was every small choice you made when no one was watching. So the next time you spend $1, save $1, invest $1, remember you're building a story. A story that ends with freedom, peace, and power. That's the real millionaire lifestyle. Not the cars, not the clout. It's the quiet confidence of knowing you built it from nothing, one small shift at a time.